Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Ramsey and
Aleta and Akariko.
And we are here to talk about a question that my students ask all the time. Am I too young or am I too old to start singing? So let's get right into it. Well, guys, I just thought this was a fantastic question for this week. I get it all the time. I'm sure Aleta does too. Am I too old or am I too young to start singing or to start singing lessons? And I thought Aleta just has so much experience working with such a broad spectrum of singers. I thought that she could kind of share her experience with that.
Well, thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me today. As Matt said, my name is Aleta. I'm from Vancouver, BC, Canada, and I've been a singing teacher, voice instructor, voice and music educator for the last 8 years. And yes, he's right, I have worked with several different age groups. So, I definitely can put my 2 cents in. I would say that the best age to start singing lessons, private singing lessons, would be probably around ages 10, 11, 12. Because I believe that that's the best, that age group, they have more of an attention span for private training. They're able to focus a little bit more. Prior to that, I would suggest to parents to enroll their children in group classes, singing classes, choir, things like musical theater classes, classes where there's movement involved, right, where they can play as they use their voices.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I think also music training, like piano, guitar, musicality building is really important prior to starting private voice lessons, so that music muscle's already been sort of established, and then they have a better sense of pitch. So in my opinion, I usually take children ages 12 and up, but usually 10, 11, 12 I think is a great time frame.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. And me personally, my youngest student right now is 6, and she's awesome. And I could totally understand your reasoning behind the attention span, because frankly at that age it's just like it's anything can be a distraction. And I work with so many students that I'm oftentimes their first kind of exposure to music, aside from hearing it passively, like on the radio and stuff like that. So for me personally, I think some of these students, I'm kind of their only little window into music, because I'm not sure about in Vancouver. You guys have amazing, art programs and stuff there. However, there's just so many choices of education here. And even in our public education systems, you don't always have access to a music class. I can think of one student that there's a waiting list to get into a choir class.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just nuts. So for maybe the situation's a little bit different here. Is music taught in all public education institutions there?
It is. However, there are some schools that it's very limited.
Yeah.
It's just band class, or just one choir. But there are some schools who definitely have more an extensive program. But there are voice teachers in our region who specialize in working with children, and what I've learned is they incorporate music into the singing lesson.
Oh yeah.
So they incorporate a little bit of work at the piano. They also have their students move as they sing. Age 6, 7, it's hard to keep still in one spot, so definitely working with movement would help. And it gives children the freedom to express themselves through using their voice. So I think it's a wonderful tool, and I think, personally, for my own opinion, I believe that kids work better in a group, and I think they better when they feed off each other, and so maybe 2 or 3 kids at a time would be beneficial. And so it's sometimes, you might get that 6, 7-year-old that's really focused and really wants to learn and has the musicality naturally. And of course, absolutely, I'd say take on that client for sure. But in my own personal experience, I have really encouraged them prior to age 10 to enroll in some, if the schools that they attend don't already have a music program, to enroll in other music classes, choir, etc.
That's beautiful. I love that. And I can just think of so many instances in which there's so many programs around town that kids can get that exposure to performance. It doesn't always happen in the public education system, but there's always some access there. So what if I'm too old? Am I too old to start singing, Aleta?
You're never too old. Remember, age is nothing but a number.
All right.
I would say, obviously, as we get older, our bodies age. As we age, we lose muscle mass.
Yeah.
And the reality set in, and of course, the vocal cords are a muscle.
Yes.
And so we need to ensure that they are kept young and healthy. And how do we do that? Through vocal exercises, through fitness for the voice, or yoga for the voice. And I would say taking private singing lessons can definitely help, ensure that your voice has the longevity as you age, and that you're able to keep the vocal cords in shape through practicing vocal technique. I've got students in their 60s and early 70s who are singing in choirs, who have only been with me for maybe a few years, but are practicing regularly and are noticing a difference in their voices, both in their speaking voices and in their ability to sing in a group setting. So, even in a solo setting. So I would say you're never too old to learn. It's definitely a motor skill. So, a lot of times as we age, we've got a lot of clutter in our brain, lots of worries.
I think I've got some already.
What's that?
I think I've got some clutter up there already.
Oh, come on. At this age, you're too young for clutter.
Okay.
Yeah, but we have that hamster on the wheel, like all the worries. I got to pay the bills. I've got kids to raise, etc. But however, singing can be so beneficial on so many other levels. It can really allow us to be present and mindful and really focus us and center us. So learning how to use your voice effectively in both singing and speaking can benefit not just in the fact that you will age better, or your vocal cords will age better, but also it will help you in a psychological sense. It'll help sort of calm your nervous system down too. So there's lots of benefits to singing.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I've seen so many studies talking about how singing in choirs, for example, just can boost your overall mood. They were talking about how they did a study of like 300 people with depression, and the people who were the most depressed who went into some choirs saw the most benefit. So it's kind of, it's a real kind of like extreme, almost like mental makeover that you can do. And I think, it's crazy. This is a little off the cuff, but I mean, sometimes I'll just be having a rough morning and then I'll start teaching and I start singing and I start using my voice and I just feel great.
Yes, absolutely. Well, singing is really, it contributes to our overall wellness.
Yes.
It contributes to our mental wellness because we're having to use the brain in order to sing, but also our spiritual wellness because we have to be present as we sing. We can't be worried about some situation that happened when we're singing a song, right? So it kind of, and it also gives you the ability to vocalize or express yourself, which can be very therapeutic. If you've got a lot of emotions stuck in your throat, singing can release that, if you will.
Yeah, I think that, I think you just made another really good point in that, the students who are really quite young are still kind of gaining that awareness of their emotions. And, oh man, I didn't realize I was feeling sad, but I'm sad, and they're kind of still gaining that awareness. So from that perspective, that could be another reason, why gaining some emotional maturity is not a prerequisite, but certainly can help you become a better singer, is that emotional awareness.
That's a great point. Like, you don't have to have a prerequisite to study voice, right? But
Right.
definitely it requires a certain level of maturity and an understanding to be able to follow instruction. And I think if you start too young, there's not enough play involved in a private voice lesson. And I think for little kids, it's important that they have that that play aspect brought into the lesson.
Right. Oh, I'm very playful.
I bet. I'm sure you've got your basketball hoops in the back.
Oh yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts in here. But I just am always just. I'll just say one more thing because I know your time is so precious, and I know you have to go. But
I'm not famous.
what?
I'm not that famous.
Oh, you're so famous. Oh my gosh. It's just such an honor to have you. And the other thing I was going to say, with a really young student, you can almost see the mechanics change in their voice from week to week. I mean, it's nuts. Like my 6-year-old 3 months ago could not keep a straight rhythm. She couldn't even just pat her leg in time with the music. And now she's like gaining that pitch control mechanism. And it's nuts. It's so rewarding for me as a teacher. So maybe it's selfish that I take her that young.
In fact, I think that's wonderful because you are incorporating music skill building in the lesson. And I think that's really important for a child that age. And so you're making it fun by incorporating rhythm, musicality, ear training, etc. Stuff like that is really beneficial. And I'm just saying that some teachers might be very good at working with children and have that natural ability to work with kids. In my 8 years of teaching, I just noticed that the bulk of children who come to me benefit more, especially under the age of 10, benefit more from group lessons. In fact, I had a group singing class for kids and for quite some time under the age of 10, and it was so much fun to teach. They were so much more receptive in a group setting than they were in their actual private lessons with me. And they were harmonized by the end of it. They did a huge performance. The parents were quite pleased with their progress. So I really enjoyed getting them together as a group. And I thought that was much more, I saw a lot more changes in their progress working together.
It's
as
so
opposed
beautiful.
to just private.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It was great, it was a lot of fun for me too, because I love working with a group,
Yeah. Oh man. And then it's like a force multiplier.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, so to answer your question, I would say, for me, personally speaking, the best age would be 10, 11, 12 to start private voice lessons. However, before that, there's lots of different options, and it doesn't mean you can't take private voice lessons. It's just that's my personal opinion, is to enroll the child in lots of different options musically so that they can build their music skills and their performance skills. And also the play aspect is really important, but as for the cap, there's no such thing.
Dead is the cap.
Right?
It's hard to get that chest voice activated when you're dead, but a little morbid. With that, I wanted to thank you so much for your time, Aleta. It's such an honor to have you and just to hear your perspective, and you've just got so much experience. I love talking to you.
Thank you, Matt. Big hugs to you guys in Texas.
Absolutely. Well, have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
See you soon, Matt. Bye.